Hello, and welcome to another Saturday food support group. We have these Zoom meetings every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I just invite people to come and to share their stories because I've had so many people reach out to me in private messages and tell me their stories. And I just couldn't keep it for myself. I had to share with you all of the beautiful things that are happening when people break their addiction to sugar and carbs and processed food. And they get their brains back, they get their bodies back, they get their lives back. And they're just so excited that they can't wait to tell. And so I informed everyone that I would be recording these meetings, and I encouraged them that if they wanted to remain anonymous, that they can turn the camera off. But a lot of people just, they want to share. They want to share what has happened to them, and they're so excited about their new life. And then I also open it up for questions. If people are still struggling and they're still on this journey, that they can come and ask questions. But if you need more individualized care than just in a group like this, feel free to email me at innerclaritysystem@gmail.com, and I'll walk you through what it looks like to work with me one-on-one. All right, thanks. I hope you enjoy the group. Hello. Nice to have everybody. So glad to see you this Saturday morning. I hope that you're having a good Saturday morning and that you're refreshed. And I'm so blessed that you just want to come and talk about things. So if you have any questions or if you have anything that you want to share in the group, please raise your hand. You can find that under reactions. And then under reactions at the bottom, it says raise hand. And then you can raise your hand, and we will make sure that whatever you want to talk about gets talked about, whether it's a story that you want to tell or whether it's a question that you have about this way of eating or about mental health. You are welcome. Did you guys see some of the recordings from the last one? They were pretty good, huh? I was in shock at how much people were just like transparent and sharing about, where they're at on this journey. It was really, really cool. Because I really think that that's what the stigma has to break of mental illness, for us to recognize that, we're all in this fight together. We're all doing our best, and that it's a struggle sometimes. So anybody want to jump in? Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and call on George. George, can you talk to us a little bit about your MS experience? Oh, wait, just a second, George. 2 seconds. Go ahead, Jules.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a little update. I went to I see a cousin of mine who, like me, was diagnosed with bipolar 1. And last time I saw him, he was doing pretty poorly. He was pretty much physically really handicapped, and not doing very well. And he was, his fourth appeal for Social Security was denied. And this is someone who has a lot of mental illness in his family, from schizophrenia to serious depression. And so I was a little worried. I hadn't been in touch with him since I became carnivore and had all this amazing healing. And I did speak to his wife, and I told her about my experience, and she was, she seemed pretty encouraged by what I had been through and seeing me, a person that I was doing so well after so many years of just seeing me just in a complete mess. And so we went to visit him, and I was surprised because he's actually doing really well. He's not carnivore, but he's cut out a lot of stuff. Wow. That was causing him a lot of distress. And I mean, he's carnivore in that he eats meat. He enjoys meat, obviously. And he's been, and you've seen this huge change. Like physically, he's not doesn't need a cane anymore. Doesn't need doesn't it was able to work. And the reason I didn't see him this summer like I usually do, he comes down to visit with his family, is because he was busy building a deck on the on the back of his house. So he had this amazing transformation, just cutting out a bunch of stuff that was really bothering him, and learning to respect that and with his diet. And it was just
Wow.
really encouraging to see. I went from thinking, oh, I'm going to have to really have a lot of hard work in front of me this weekend, to just enjoying the time with him, and explaining my victories and how I was able to get to where I was, and explaining a little bit more about the carnivore diet, and then also realizing that he had made a lot of similar changes to his diet, with his specific health conditions, and that he was able to, and he's been doing really well too. So it ended up being a really great weekend, and I was just so glad that I was able to be there, and just talk with him, and see all the progress he made. It was really encouraging.
That's so cool. So did he talk about like what was the catalyst for his changes?
Well, it was really just he started eliminating stuff that he thought he might be allergic to, and was causing him inflammation. And he stopped a lot of stuff that he would do before, like a lot of the snacks and things that he was eating before. And this time when I saw him, he was eating, almost like keto, essentially, like a
Yeah.
meat-based keto. And so he was just doing really well with that. Now he was somewhat afraid about carnivore and so eating, so much meat. And I told him, well, you can, you don't have to eat it all at once. You can eat it like 5, 6 meals a day if you have a limit on how much protein you can eat at one sitting, like he does. But yeah, it was we left, and we both kind of were in that same place of making huge progress. When the last time we saw each other, we were both just completely out of it, and it was just really
Wow.
encouraging to see that firsthand, and to share with him all weekend. So
Well,
no,
and
it ended up being a really good trip.
to get to know each other on a different level, to get
Yes,
to know each other both healthy, you
yes,
know, and both present and both
yes,
there, not sitting there going, oh my gosh, when is this going to be over? you know?
exactly. Which was always every time we got together. We would always talk, but it was always in a state of suffering in silence.
Yeah. Cause any kind of social gathering, for me was always very difficult. And I was just always ready for it to be over. Not sitting there engaging and enjoying the company. But I think that brings up something really good, Jules, because I think that sometimes we think that we need to just have it just be meat only, and like that's the only way. But it's like you get to choose your level of health. You know, you get to choose, hey, I'm gonna remove the soda, or I'm going to remove the bags of M&Ms, or the Twinkies, or whatever. Like, you get to choose your level of health and start where you're at. You don't have to go crazy Jules and eat only meat, or crazy Emily or crazy George and eat, you know, fermented meat. You get to go where you're most comfortable and just make better choices. And the cool part is that you still get to have healing there.
Yeah.
You still get to have healing with just removing those processed foods. And that's why a lot of my stuff, I don't say absolutely carnivore, because I see that there's so much healing just in removing processed sugar and foods. And you can do that with keto.
Yeah. And he saw a lot of, I mean, one of the reasons why he kept asking more questions about carnivore, because he saw that I had a lot more energy than he does.
Wow.
And it takes him a long time to like get up in the morning and kind of get ready. And I wake up at 4 or 5 after 8 hours of sleep, and I'm just ready to go. I know no
Yep.
coffee needed. I explained that to him. I said that's the biggest, one of the biggest changes I've experienced, of just eliminating everything else. It's just this excess of energy that just doesn't stop. I don't feel like it's running
Absolutely.
out. I don't feel stressed. It's just always there. I sleep like a baby, and then when I wake up, I'm ready to go. So
And
that's
it's
one
it's
of, he saw that as
crazy.
a bonus for carnivore.
That's so cool. That's so cool that you were able to, he already has that personal experience, but now he's able to see the next level
Yeah.
with what you're experiencing. And I even am really surprised whenever I go through my news feed and I see so many carnivores that are still on coffee. And I just don't need it.
Yeah.
You know, for me personally, it was important for me to let go of it because it was mimicking my bipolar cycles where I would be on coffee and it would give me that high, and then I would crash, and I didn't like the way that felt. It reminded me of bipolar. But it's a miracle that I'm able to get out of bed. I'm just able to get out of bed and not have to drink coffee at all. Every once in a while I'll have some, matcha tea for fun. But never every day. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe once a week.
Yeah. And that's what he does. He does matcha once in a while, but really just.
That's awesome that he's able to, explore even more going forward. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Jules. I love
Yeah,
that.
of course.
So, George,
We're,
go ahead. You want to raise your hand, Terry?
but I was going to ask, are you going to George next? Because I wasn't sure if you were still going to George. I'll make a comment after George goes.
George is a gentleman and he would love for you to go first.
Oh, no, it's just that because it's my very first time, I don't know what the protocol is. It's rude not to make some introductory remarks or anything. So I'll just quickly say, I'm Terry. I'm TD.
Hi, Terry.
On Instagram. Hi. And carnivore has been a life changer for me. The health.
Really? Tell us about your story.
I've lost over 200 pounds. I know I had a lot to go. That's crazy. I know.
Wow, way to go. Yeah. That's amazing.
I did that, and I reversed my type 2 diabetes, and just, you guys know, a slew of other things, just a slew. But the mental health issues, that's huge too. I wasn't bipolar, but I had major depression for years, the hospitalizations, convulsive therapy. But the anxiety got so bad, that the panic disorder, that I was actually agoraphobic for about 10 years. I was a prisoner in my home. I couldn't leave my home without my bowels going on me. They would just go. So it was severe. So this is an absolute lifesaver for so many aspects of a person's life. And I just hope people will at least try. I'm never one to say, oh, this is the way you got to do, no. Figure it out, though. Figure it out and know that there are people out there, us crazy ones, just eating meat, maybe a little piece of green something once in a blue moon, or a berry one time a year, but we're out there, and it does do something amazing. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Sorry about that.
No, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Terry, there's so many people that, especially with agoraphobia, that don't talk about it because they're stuck, they're paralyzed.
I couldn't mention why I couldn't get out the door for years. I couldn't tell people because my bowels literally just emptied. And that's one of the more extreme symptoms of fight or flight. Your bowels empty to protect you from being stabbed. Apparently, from an evolutionary standpoint, it's very normal, but it was horrible. You can't step out your front door because you're a prisoner. It was awful. It was awful. And I know you guys all have your stories as well, but.
Well, and I think it's really important to talk about that because I think that normal people don't understand that it's an involuntary reaction like that. They think, oh, just suck it up. Just step outside. Just take 1 foot outside. Okay, I'll take 1 foot outside and then my bowels will relieve themselves. I think that it's important for us to have this open conversation to talk about that. It is very real. It is very real that the even though you can logically know that there's not a bear outside, your central nervous system doesn't know that there's not a bear outside that's about to kill you.
Oh, I'm getting a message that my internet connection is unstable. So if I disappear, that's a Chromebook thing, apparently. That's why I hesitated so long. I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know what I saw in case I disappear. It's not me running away or anything. Okay.
It's
I'm
okay.
here. I'm here
No,
now.
no problem. Thank you so much,
Sure.
Terry. So, if you
Thank you,
have
Emma.
if you have a minute, can you tell us what made you switch to this way of eating?
Well, in 2010, actually, when I was at my heaviest and just most desperate, it was do or die time, to be honest. I just started, something made me just start looking at healthy books again, like books on losing weight. I had sworn off diets, the whole bit, put my scale away, and my weight ballooned. But something said, no, you've got to try one more time to keep living. You have to. You can't stay like this, just trapped in your home in this body. And I read, I think it was Michael Eads' Protein Power. Somehow that ended up in my hands. I can't even remember how or why.
Awesome.
From there, I had done the Atkins before and all that. You know, it's not like it was foreign. I was like, yes, low carb, right. I never did really, get anywhere too far with that. And I just started from there and then got on low carb sites and then ketogenic. The carnivore was the very last step. I did everything else but because I thought, oh, this is a bit, much. And I didn't think red meat was bad, or I just thought, ooh, that seems a bit extreme, just like I was a vegan for a few years. I tried that too. I was on that diet roller coaster since I was 9. So I think I've tried pretty much anything and everything, even fruit for an entire week one time. It was, but yeah, I just tried everything. And finally, though, when you're in those circles, as you guys all know, we start hearing other people's story. Oh, he does carnivore. She does carnivore. She had this problem. And I go from there. So that was 4 years ago that I went carnivore in June.
Wow.
Well, no, actually 3.5, sorry. That I did the carnivore. And yeah, that was the one that has really made me feel like I can stick with this for life. The first one. Carbs seem to just promote more carbs for me anyway. Like I just want too many carbs if I start eating carbs. So.
Wow. And so what were the fine tuning symptoms that you noticed a difference in with carnivore? Because obviously it serves you because you've eaten this way for 4 years. So what did you notice was an even more healing as you ate carnivore?
It's almost like it took everything that I gained, like health-wise, from the low carb and the keto way, and just ramped it up and made it feel more real, more solid, if you will.
Wow.
The mood wasn't on quite that shaky ground. The cravings were different. The hunger, even hunger, it feels different. You could get this empty feeling. Yeah, because I do the once a day, the OMAD. And it's not the same, though. The hunger is not the same. So it just solidified everything. Like, yes, I think I may have finally gotten to the summit, or at least near the summit of this mountain that I've been climbing since I was a little kid. I think that's what it was. It just solidified everything and cleared up other, psoriasis, and just really cleansed everything, the carnivore.
Absolutely.
I even that hashtag meat heals. Meat heals, meat heals, meat heals. I really do.
You gotta see my shirt.
Well, there you go. Yes. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, it's been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Well, and I think that's another reason why I stay on it, is because I just feel so darn good.
Isn't that enough right there? Isn't that it right there? We don't have to we want to understand it, because I did find that was important this time around, to understand, why do I want to cut down my carbs? I wanted to know the biochemical processes going on. And then people started approaching, like Jules was saying, let other people notice. Oh, you got more energy. How come you got more energy than me these days, buddy? And they'll ask you sometimes, And I think that's a good approach too, is letting people come to us. We're out there, but let them come to us and don't push it too much. It's tempting though, isn't it? It's tempting when somebody's suffering and just want to go, please try it. Yeah. Well, I try. I do little things, but I try to hold a little bit back.
Well, Let me just give you a confession really quick. That's why I have these meetings, because it's so important for me to talk to people who want to hear about it. I don't want to talk to my coworkers who are sitting there drinking soda and shoving their face with chips and make them feel guilty. I don't want to do that. That drains my energy, but it feeds my energy to talk to people like you, Terry, who, and you know, Jules and George and everybody who has seen the changes and experienced the healing, you know.
And that's what ultimately made me say, you've got to try out this group today. You have to, because I wouldn't be here without all the inspiration I received from all kinds of people, Diet Doctor and every site I can think of. I feel like I need to give back too, and be here for help myself. You know, like, we're not perfect suddenly when we become carnivores, but we do have something to offer. And yeah, that's why we have to put our information out there for other people who are coming along and struggling and looking for answers, like I was and we all were.
Absolutely. And to go against the mainstream narrative that, you know, I mean, if you just think about all of the different you know, ads that come in your commercials or news feeds or anything, it's always fast food this and chips this and this and that. And so it's really important to kind of combat that and to talk about it, you know, to just have a conversation about this.
It really does help, doesn't it? Just to talk about it, just say, man, it's hard driving down every street and they're calling out to us in every commercial. But you know what? We do it and it becomes easier and easier on carnivore.
Have you noticed that
you're not eating carbs, it doesn't hit you the same way. It just doesn't. The cravings is just not the same. They're there. I'm not going to lie anymore. I even tried to lie to anything with sweetness. No, it still tastes good once. You know, it does. But I think about what it does to my body, and then I have this great sympathy for my body and what it's already been through, and that helps pull me over that little hump too. Just the craving just disappears. Like, no, I don't want to do that to myself.
Absolutely. And then I remember how bad it felt the last time that I messed up, that I chose to eat something that, you know, I know wasn't good for me. And I just choose not to go back, you know, not to do that to myself. And I realize how valuable my body is. And that I want to give it the best. I don't want to give it, you know, Burger King and McDonald's. And well, I mean, there are good things at Burger King, McDonald's, but
it's true. Well,
the typical things.
Exactly. Yeah, the patties are okay.
Yeah. Well, in the chat, it says, Adriana said, I was agoraphobic years too, due to anxiety and depression. Carnivore also relieves my depression. Your healing is amazing. So thank you, Terry, for sharing that.
That's nice to hear. That's good to know.
Yes.
That's anybody.
Awesome. And you know, I welcome you to share anything that you want to. So thanks for speaking up, Terry.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Thanks.
So anybody else want to jump in, or I'm just going to throw George under the bus? Okay, George, you're up. Can you talk about MS? Because we talked mainly about schizophrenia the last time you were here.
Yeah, well, with me and the MS, I mean, that came up. You have to understand that my chronology of, well, the chronologue of sickness, really, as a kid, I had eczema, IBS, 16 was Epstein-Barr, 20 was the schizo thing. At 24, I was diagnosed temporal lobe epilepsy, 29, I had Lyme disease, and 31 was the MS. And before the MS, I was working for a crawl space contractor for like a year and some change. And I was doing mold treatments on like the dirtiest black mold you could ever imagine on the Jersey Shore that was previously rocked by Hurricane Sandy. So there was a big market for that kind of thing. And another, like after the Lyme disease, I kind of went keto. It was a lot of bacon, eggs, and butter, but it wasn't high quality stuff ever. but I was doing kind of better. But then when I went to jail in 2017, and I was tormented with Taco Bell and IHOP commercials nonstop. So when I did get out, I was so happy about my newfound freedom that I went so hard on all the worst foods I could possibly eat. Taco Bell was very regular for me. I mean, I was eating out constantly and it was never really good stuff. So, and when the MS happened, I mean, it was the sickest I've ever been. Like these days, it's kind of hard to recall just how bad it was. But during the first attack, I lost all use of the right side of my body. I couldn't hear out of my right ear. My vision was 60% gone in both eyes. I've probably mentioned the nystagmus. It was when I did get admitted to the hospital, they brought everyone in, they brought every resident on that side of the hospital into my room to see what my eyes looked like.
So you were the example.
Yeah. And it wasn't until 3 days of IV steroids where I could actually read what was on the walls again. And I mean, so pretty immediately I realized I needed to start excising a bunch of foods from my diet. And an old friend from high school actually sent me something about Terry Walls. So I first started looking into her and her paleo suggestions, but she also does recommend eating copious amounts of green veggies every day, which I used to do, thinking I was doing myself a favor. You know, it's a giant plates of broccoli and spinach. And I was still drinking coffee back then and putting more oxalates in my coffee with turmeric and cinnamon powder. And I mean, it's almost 18 months, no oxalates, and I'm still dumping sometimes. But so when I did get out of the hospital, I was on oral prednisone for 5 months because of how bad my state. Well, I was also back on a benzo then because the vertigo was so bad that I got put on a benzo. And I had been off a benzo for 2 years at that point. So that was pretty crushing to me because I was very happy with myself for having gotten out of that hole. So yeah, I got back on a benzo. They put me on Abilify, which was one of the worst things I've ever taken, and like I was still sticking with a relatively keto paleo type thing, but I would still occasionally imbibe in things like French fries that were fried in whatever trash vegetable canola oil, and the gluten-free bread, things like that, because I knew gluten was bad. But yeah, so I would always try substituting things. But then when I decided to do carnivore, I went, I plotted it out. So I had the butcher with the 100% grass-fed stuff, the organ meats, and bone marrow broth, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and
And
I think when I read Terry Walls, I was so mentally ill and incapacitated, and then incapacitated with the MS. I couldn't walk, that I was just like, well, I'm glad that she had a partner that could do that for her, but I didn't have a partner that could prepare all those vegetables for me. And so it came down to what can I do? And I could hold on to the cart, go to the meat department, put steaks in my cart, take it back to the car, and then I could sit on a stool in front of the stove and flip a steak.
yeah, meat's
That's
easy.
what I could do. But I couldn't prepare mountains of vegetables. So the Terry
Yeah.
Walls wasn't practical for me.
Yeah, it's just tedious, it's time consuming, and there's like net negative to eating such vegetables. Like I didn't know anything about how brassicas will displace iodine from your thyroid or anything like that. I didn't know about the whole goitrogenic notion, or I didn't know about oxalates because I would get like one of those big things of spinach, and I would just, of course, put a ton of butter in the thing because I like the butter more than the spinach. But I'd put like half a stick of butter in a pan and then saute like an inordinate amount of spinach, like probably 2 full cups of it. And I'd eat that. And I mean, I was eating meat, but I didn't have the fat thing down. Like, I think fat is the most valuable to me.
Yes.
It's why I religiously consume the beef suet. This morning, ground suet in the mug, bone broth on, and then I had my raw organ feast decided, and it was wonderful. But and then it'll be a big porterhouse steak probably when this is all done with. But when I got into this, I mean, by the third or fourth month, it was just like pure bliss. And after I think 6 weeks, I was off the prescription drugs and my mood. I mean, with everything that had ever gone wrong with me, I found myself in the best state of mind, body, and spirit than I'd ever been in my life. Like, it was a state of being I did not know was actually possible for me to grasp. And I mean, last month, yeah, I saw a bunch of people I hadn't seen in a few years, and they're just like, your posture's better. You're all filled out now. You look so healthy." And I'm just like, I mean, it's either this or I'm crippled, and I choose the bright, healthy stuff now because like once you actually can grasp something like this, it's not something you want to let go of ever.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that I hear often is people are like, I'll try this. And then once they can get through the first 30, 45 days, they're like, oh my goodness, this is what good feels like.
Yeah.
Like because they don't have a point of reference,
Yeah,
they've felt
exactly.
misery forever. And then they feel good. And then they're like, I want to eat like this forever. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
big
do it.
aha moment. That big
Yeah.
aha. I mean, that was also why though I took to this like so hard like I did, because when I did start this experiment, on the first thing I ate on the first morning of the first day was raw liver. I just cut it up and shot it with water, and
I love your extreme nature.
I remember just feeling it like, whoa, this is what nourishment feels like. So then I picked up kidneys the next week and started eating those too, and heart. And I mean, this morning was a goat testicle, beef pancreas, thymus, heart, liver, kidney, and the broth, and a spoon of some salmon roe because that stuff is fantastic.
Is it? I haven't tried it yet.
Oh,
I
so
really want to. I want to experiment more. I love how experimentative you are,
yeah.
to try different things. I'm the one that's just like, I feel so good right now. I just want to stay here for a minute. But I know that there's more to even come. Like I could even have even better energy if I went and tried some of the stuff George is trying.
Well, the high meat though, it's like for somebody like me who used to be a total druggy garbage head, I like being high, you know?
Yeah.
So the first time I ate the high meat was in August before I saw Billy Strings, and I felt like I was on ecstasy. And after the concert, I was laying, like usually I'm out cold by like 9, 10 at night. That night I was up till like 1 in the morning and just kept getting tickled from the inside out and just like smiling and laughing out of nowhere just because I felt that good internally.
Yeah. And it's crazy that you can do that just on meat.
Yeah, I know. If only people knew. It's
Yeah.
it's why it's nice being in circles like this because amongst normies, it's quite difficult to bite my tongue.
Yeah. It is. It is. And I'm so glad that you came and that you share your story. And so have you had any MS symptoms since?
No, none. No nerve pain, no neuropathy, no aches, pains, cramps, spasms, no vertigo, no nystagmus, no losing my balance, no impotence, no what else, no heat and cold sensitivity. Like I couldn't take one or the other. I mean, I was trying to do this outside today, but it's like single digits outside right now, so I had to come back in because it was just becoming a bother.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just the level wavelength of the state of mind, because I mean I was neurotic and crazy and somewhat schizo for years, and like paranoid, delusional, like I would give some examples, maybe I'll save that for another day, of the just how bad the delusions got. But
Okay.
they I mean it's just, I mean, I don't, and I'm not saying this to be hyperbolic, but it's as if you achieve nirvana when you do this. When you reverse gut dysbiosis and get really well nourished, it's just like nothing bothers you anymore. It's just like you can deal with whatever comes up and it's no big deal. You're
Well,
just
and
sailing.
if you've experienced that hell in your own physical body and mind, to experience this peace, nothing really does matter, you
No,
know?
exactly.
So I, my coworker is upset about something. So, this, I don't know, my car broke down. So this happened. So that happened. So whatever, there's a bigger bill this month than I expected. Okay, who cares?
I got a
Like,
speeding ticket in December and like it didn't even bother me. I remember being a kid and getting tickets for stupid things, and as soon as the cop walked back to his car, I'd be like, "Wah!" and punching the roof of the car, just like having some sort of fit. And now it's just like, eh. At least he gave me a ticket for only going 76 and a 65 rather than the 95 that I was going. But it was because I was like friendly and cool to the cop, and he was just like, "Oh, you're traveling over 6 hours, and yeah, all right, I get where you're coming from. Just you're gonna hit a deer if you keep that kind of pace up, and that wouldn't be fun."
yeah, but
But
it's
yeah,
just everything becomes more in perspective, you know?
yeah,
What?
and it's everything just becomes so much easier to deal with, and other people receive you better, and just it puts out good feedback loops like that, and good feedback comes back, and it's, yeah, it's wonderful.
Isn't that true? Because there's so many times with my bipolar that I look back on broken friendships or relationships, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe they weren't the problem. Maybe I
Yeah,
was the
no,
problem.
I truly shudder to think at some of the things I did in my formative years when when my judgment was dictated by pathogenic gut flora. And now that I'm out of that place, I mean, looking back on something like how idiotic I used to be would have made me self-destruct and do some really stupid things, but now it's just like, ah, man. And then it's like, all right, on to the next thing. Like, whatever. Nothing I can do now. So, but what I can do is keep feeding myself right and keep feeling good and keep getting some sunlight in the eyes, even though it's really, really cold today. So I have to
Yeah.
be back indoors.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, George. I always appreciate it when you share. It means so much to me. And it's just been so fun to have another MS person on this carnivore journey with me. You're such a joy for me.
And you are for me as well. And I appreciate what you do. Never
Awesome.
stop.
Never stop. I promise. All right. We got a question in the chat. I have, the dual switch. I think that's what it is. 2011, lost 310 to 135. Now eating heavy fatty meat and some carbs. Have drug-induced Parkinson's diagnosis, body neuropathy, bowel issues, diarrhea most days. Reference needed for carnivore doctor in the San Jose Bay Area. Thanks. So does anybody have any sources of online that we can find a carnivore doctor?
I'm not entirely sure, but let me.
And Raymond always he always posts like a yeah, I don't know if Riveros is public. He posts a low carb. I want to say, does Brett Scherer have one maybe that you all know of? Danny, do you know? He posts some kind of website that's low carb. It's not carnivore. I don't know if we have a database for carnivore providers.
Danny says that you can become a member for free at Rivero Health for 30 days.
Oh,
what was the question?
Perfect.
How you guys? Sorry, what was the other question? I thought someone said.
Well, there was another low carb. Raymond always posts this one that's like low carb. I want to say it's from Brett or something. That Brett, that doctor.
I think I know, but I'm not sure. 100% for sure. I know for sure there's a list on Rivero.
Okay.
And like I said,
okay, but yeah, you're
for 30 days
yeah.
and get the list. It looks like Amy might.
Yeah.
Do the free trial. Perfect.
It's called Steady MD. It is
Steady
concierge
MD.
medicine. Steady, capital M, capital D. Concierge medicine for one adult, it's like $99 a month. And it is an actual doctor who will review everything. His name is Dr. Nick, and his last name, I think he's from Zimbabwe. I ain't even going to try to say it, but he's a black guy. And if you go in and you can choose who you want for your doctor, he is pro keto carnivore. I actually had him for a little while. And so he saw my like super hyper responder cholesterol numbers and he was thrilled with them. Super excited about that. Very understanding. So I can put Steady MD in the chat, and then Dr. Nick, I can see if I can find his picture. But when I was with them, he was very supportive, understood keto and wanted to learn more about the carnivore. So if he had patients who came in who are carnivore, then he's more than willing to learn from that. So check them out.
Awesome. And Amy, do you mind sending that to me, or I'll find it in the chat and I'll put it in the notes for this replay.
Perfect.
People.
And then I gotta go because I have to go.
Yeah, because you got internet. Yours. Well, and you got your thing in 15 minutes.
Yeah, so that's okay. So
awesome. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
She's the best. Awesome. So hope that answers your question, Becky. She says I have an appointment with him booked in June and in Florida. Oh, with Dr. Siwas. Okay, I see. Dr. Siwas as well, but he's 6 months out. So Becky's saying she has an appointment in June with Dr. Siwas. So maybe this Dr. Nick might be able to get you in sooner. That would be awesome. So thank you for putting that in the chat, Becky. I think that's a good thing. And I see that you want it to be local. I think that there are certain databases, especially on Rivero Health, that they have databases for specific local doctors that you can find. Okay, anybody else want to raise their hand and tell us their testimony or a question? Claire. Hi,
Hello.
How's your egg experiment going?
Good, but it won't last forever.
Yes.
Because I'm missing a bit meat now.
Yes.
But yeah, it's good. It's cheap, it's good. And I have still lots of eggs to eat. So I will be on, a couple of days more, but that's it. Then I will just listen to my body and go back to real meat.
So you've done, are you up to 6 days or 5?
Yeah,
how many days?
6 days today.
6 days of eggs only.
Eggs and butter.
Eggs and butter.
Yeah. And honestly, it's good. And you have so much variety of eggs, so you can cook them like lots of recipes, and it's really good. But yeah, I'm starting missing my bacon on the side. And I'm starting missing my organs because I love organs so much. So yeah, now I'm feeling like, oh yeah, some liver will be really welcome, some bacon will be amazing. So yeah, maybe tomorrow more, and then I will be out of it.
Yeah. And I always think maybe it might be good to do a little reset sometimes like that. Whenever people get into like meat aversion, to just kind of do a reset and just do eggs for a few days or a week. And then you get back to craving meat.
Yeah. And you know, at the beginning of the week, I was eating mostly the full eggs, and then more and more yolks and less full eggs. And now I'm eating like most of the eggs are only the yolks. I'm really, yeah, the eggs white are making me like bloated, and it does not happen with the yolks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's an experiment. And yeah, like George mentioned, I miss salmon raw. I love salmon raw.
Yes.
And yeah, you know, like the very high nutrient dense food that, yeah, the yolks are great, but when they are coupled with something else, it's even better. So it's an experiment. It's cheap. It's okay for a week. Yeah, it won't last forever.
Well, and it's good to know that it can be done.
Yeah. And when you see everywhere people doing beef only, beef only is not the only solution. You've got other solutions. So, but it was funny because I say, okay, I'm eating eggs and butter. I'm a vegetarian now. Yeah, because basically vegetarian can eat eggs and butter. So, but yeah.
That's hilarious. That would be a good catch for like a YouTube video. Like Emily goes, vegetarian for a week. I just eat eggs and butter, except for I can't. I react to eggs and butter, but with my MS. But that's so cool. That's so cool that you've been able to do that. I love it.
Yeah, and I wanted to thank you a little bit because here the group is quite small. I feel really cozy and comfortable speaking here. And most of the people understand what is living with mental illness, which is great. And because of you, I'm having some private chat with people from the group, and we can speak about carnivore without focusing on the mental illness side. It can be casual. And I think it's really good. What you're doing is amazing, because we can connect then after the meetings and speak like a friend. And because when you had mental illness in the past, your friends are still looking at you like you're still sick, and they don't really believe that you can go over this. And regrouping here people that can see you as a non-sick person, and then you can chat like a normal person without all your history, without any judgment. It's so good.
It is so rewarding. And honestly, like another guilty confession, I do this for myself just as much as I do this for others. I get so much. And I think that that's what's really powerful about it, is that it's this equal relationship where it's not, I am almighty Emily and I'm going to come and impart information to you. No, I want us to come together because I learn from you guys just as much as you learn from me. And we're on this navigating this journey together. And it's so powerful to see and to be seen.
Yeah.
And I love that you feel safe here.
Yeah. And we know the past and of others. We know about it. We know the struggling, but because we know about it, we realize that it can be over. We can live a life without being sick, and we can trust each other because we've been there before, and we know that we are out now. And this is amazing, because if you didn't experiment this, or if you experiment but you don't know you're sick and you don't want to see that you're sick, because many people around are sick and they just don't want to see it. But when you heal, then yeah, you know that it's possible. And so you trust yourself, but you trust as well the other people. You know that they have healed as well, and they are in the good place now. And yeah, you can be just normal people around others. And this is amazing.
Well, and I think that's also a dream of mine, is to hold space for people that as they wobble, as they're getting their feet underneath them, as they're taking these baby steps on this journey, that they know that there are other people on this path. There are other people who have come from severe mental illness. I mean, severe schizophrenia, agoraphobia, eating disorders, bipolar disorder, like stuff that you don't get over. We've gotten over and we've resolved as we've fed our bodies the fat and the animal meat that it needed. And so one of the reasons why I want to have these meetings and to have them public, because there's some people who are so sick right now that they can't even come into this meeting. There's some people that are so paranoid or so paralyzed that they can't even come to a meeting like this, but they can hit play and they can watch it on YouTube, and then they can still feel our love and still see and know that we are here and we are healing and we are continuing to heal. That, like Terry, 4 years, I mean, that's amazing. That's so amazing that she's continued to heal.
Yeah, the journey is forever.
Yep.
Yeah, just the beginning. Even 4 years is just the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. 4 years is just the beginning. I mean, there's just so much. I hope that we get to have these conversations for years and years and years, and we have just a library of these conversations. That's my vision. Because there's so much healing to talk about. Yeah.
But yeah, and here it's true that because we speak about mental illness somewhere, yeah, it's like in France, I don't know how it is in the US, but in France it's still a big taboo. We don't have to say that we are mentally sick. It's like a shame. As maybe I mentioned before, my sister told me once, if you had cancer, I will tolerate you to be sick, but no, you don't have cancer, you have eating disorder. That's not a sickness. And yeah, she was like, I was not deserving any particular attention because I was not really sick. It's mental illness, it's not a sickness. But yeah, anorexia kills more than cancer in France for the rate. But yeah, she was hoping me to have a cancer. Come on.
Yeah, that's sad. That's
just
so sad.
I was sick, and yeah, we have a lot to heal in our bodies, but the mind is so important. And yes, the fat is the only way to heal the mind.
I believe that. And I have so many times I have clients that come to me for weight loss and they're like, I want to lose weight, but my mind is off the charts, but I want to lose weight. And I'm like, okay, like we got to feed your mind first. We got to fix your mind first, and the body will follow. The body will right itself eventually, but the fat is key. It's so important to get that animal fat in our brains.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. I appreciate you being here. And I saw in the chats, Terry, I'm so sorry. I know you said your Instagram, but if you can't write it in the chat, can you tell me again what your Instagram is? Somebody was wanting to follow you. I don't know how to unmute you.
Did anything show up?
I don't.
I tried typing and I'm just typing away and I'm like, oh, I don't see anything. It's TDTEE 2.0 at Instagram or whatever it is. Yeah. That's the only social. Yeah. TEE TD just TEEDD.
Got it. Got it.
Teresa
2.0.
Denise, yeah, 2.0. Yeah, that's on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook anymore or Twitter. I just got too into that. I had to get off for me. But yeah, I'm on there.
That's very important for mental illness. I think that social media can really be a tricky thing.
Yeah, it's a very big distractor, and it's overwhelming at times too, and just, yeah, very emotional stuff. So yeah, I had to cut back. So I'm happy now. So
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Terry, because Emily was wanting to follow you.
good. Now I'm going to be looking up everybody's names on your site later on Instagram too. I figure we're all following you probably, so I'll look up everybody. I'm trying to memorize all these names. Oh, I can see them on the chat or on the YouTube anyway later.
Actually, the YouTube doesn't show the
show our names, right?
The names, yeah.
So yeah, right. So I'll be looking you guys up, yeah.
All right, or feel free to message me, and I'll send them to you.
Yeah, okay.
And then in the chat, George says, for me, I got over the MS within a few months, but I was going all out on raw organs. Lots of fatty meat, lots of broth, grounding, getting morning sunlight in my eyes was also tremendous for healing. I wear blue light blocking glasses for screens too. So yes, and that's another reason why I want to have these conversations, because there's so many conversations to have. It's not just about meat.
No.
It's also about light and making better choices. But when we're so mentally ill, we can't make better choices. Awesome. Okay, and then I think that's it. I got through everything. Emily says, let's grow old together. Yes, I love that. Claire, I'm so sorry she said that to you. You are amazing and you have come a long way. Ah, so sweet. Oh, and then that's her thing is in the chat. And awesome. I think we talked about it. All right. Anybody else want to share something before we go? No?
Yes, I would.
Oh, go ahead, Becky.
Okay, so what I'm having a question about is I'm trying to eat a lot of fat because I like it too, but with the DS, it malabsorbs 80% of the fat. So I kind of have a two-edged sword. So if I eat too much fat, everything just poops right out of me really quickly.
Have you tried eating the fat raw?
No, I haven't. Well, I eat butter, but that's not particularly raw. I mean, you think that might be easier?
I know it is.
Whenever I did see I have seen a functional doctor, and she suggested I take lipates to maybe help digest some of the fat a little bit better, which I haven't started that yet, but I was probably going to get some. But just your opinion.
Yeah, my personal experience and some of the experience of other people. Claire, did you want to talk about this or something different?
Yes, I just wanted to say
Go
that
ahead.
When you're not digesting too much the fat, what is the really good point is to eat it through the day. So like every hour when you go to your kitchen, you just take a piece, but not a huge amount at the same time. This way your body can handle it easier.
That's a good idea. And then I was eating a little bit of white rice, and that seemed to help with the diarrhea, but then I don't know if the white rice counteracts the effects of using, just eating meat. So
I think it's better if you avoid the rice. So yeah.
What'd you say? What'd you say? Avoid the rice?
Yeah, I think it's better if you avoid the rice. Yes. Yeah. Any carbs, if you can avoid the carbs, avoid them. So I will recommend you to try eating like a little bit, a small piece through the day, each time you can.
And Emily, you thought raw was better than cooked?
Yeah, actually, Becky, I have you on social media, so I'm going to send you just a quick little message, and I'm going to explain to you how I eat it. I have had so many people ask me to make a video about this, and it's in the works. I
Oh,
will
awesome.
make a video about it. But what I found is rendered fat, like tallow or butter, that will go like right through you. But raw fat, whenever you can eat it raw, you absorb it better, and you digest it better. So I will send that to you, Becky.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Emily.
All right. Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming. Anybody else needed to say anything else? Nope. Okay, awesome. I really enjoyed meeting with you guys. I will be here next Saturday, and feel free to jump in whenever you can. And we will see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Emily. Bye, everyone.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the group. There is always so much beauty in being transparent and in really recognizing that we're all not alone on this journey. And so if you want to, feel free to join the Saturday support groups. They're every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you need more individualized care, then reach out to me and email me at innerclaritysystem@gmail.com. And I would love to walk through and show you what it looks like to work with me one-on-one. All right, thanks. Take care.